So, a beta tester just came out with their full review on Skirk, and honestly, it's actually quite shocking. So you might want to listen into this video if you were planning on pulling for Skirk. There's going to be some limitations to her team comps, and we do have news on how good she is compared to other current characters in the game, S tier characters, and specifically like Mavuika and Arlecchino. So tune in, watch the whole vid. If you would like to save 30% on Genesis crystals, then click the top link in the description. These are the cheapest Genesis crystals on the market right now. All you have to do is put your Genshin UID in, your server that you play on, then put in code NIXO for an additional 8% off. Everything's already 23% off, but when you use code NIXO, it goes to 30% off. Then when you purchase, it gets sent instantly to your account. If you would like to join the 16,000 Primogem giveaway that I host every single month, and I do this completely free, it's free to enter, click the second link in the description. Okay, so now I'm going to read through the transcript of the Skirk review from the beta tester. So here we go. Overall, the testing experience for Skirk in this beta has been quite satisfying. Of course, that doesn't mean there were no issues at all, but the problems that did arise were reasonable, and considering Skirk's overall performance, it seems relatively minor and easy to overlook. What we all expected from Skirk, myself included, was formidable power, the kind of raw strength we'd witnessed in the story, effortlessly subduing enemies as if they were trifles. In that regard, Skirk certainly lives up to her expectations. In terms of performance, a team consisting of Skirk C6, Farina C6, Shenhe C6 and Escoffier C1 R1 demonstrated damage output only one tier below the likes of a team with Mavuika C6, Sitlali C6, Zilonen C2 and Bennett C6. It also outperformed teams based on both Arlecchino and New Villette. In fact, because Mavuika's team faces some issues due to Bennett's limited skill range, that alone earns Skirk's team 1 point. At C0, Skirk falls short of Mavuika in strength, but still stands on par or slightly stronger than characters such as Arlecchino and New Villette. Releasing a character that could outright surpass Mavuika in 5.x would be inevitably led to significant issues. Therefore, I believe Skirk's placement, kind like Harbinger's tier character's debut in 5.x, is appropriately calibrated. A significant drawback of Skirk's performance is that on her own, she is nearly ineffective. While this is a common flaw shared by many hyper carry characters, it is a particular severe in Skirk's case. For example, Mavuika has access to multiple elemental reactions, vaporize, melt and burning, and Arlecchino can still perform well even when supported by low tier characters if ideal supports are unavailable. But Skirk has freeze. Without key characters such as Escoffier, Shenhe, her performance declines significantly. In this respect, she is quite similar to Castoris. The team structure is extremely rigid, and swapping in lower tier supports causes a sharp decline in overall team performance. And in particular, Escoffier could almost be considered Skirk's true SIG. If you're planning to pull for Skirk, you must have Escoffier. The difference in damage between a team with Escoffier and one without is so significant that it approaches catastrophic levels. I don't think the developers have any intention of decoupling Skirk's performance from Escoffier's support. If they did, there wouldn't be no reason to have created or sold Escoffier in the first place, so it's likely something we'll just have to accept. If you have Escoffier, team building becomes much more flexible. A team composed of Skirk, Escoffier and Farina can fill its final shot with characters such as Shenhe, Sitlali, Yelan or Xingqiu. Sitlali is also good used in Mavuika's team, but she can perform just as well in Skirk's team. She is capable of transferring both the Cinder City effect and the Dragon Slayer buff to Skirk. However, aside from those two effects, most of Sitlali's utility would be wasted in a Skirk's team. So it's better to pair her with Mavuika if that option is available. Meanwhile, Yelan helps to fill in the gaps in Skirk's DPS rotation. So that is the end of the Skirk transcript. And what can we take away from that? Well, comparing the C6 team of Skirk, comparing it to the C6 team of Mavuika, we now know that they are one tier below Mavuika, who is currently the most, well, like the best DPS in the game if we're going for like a team comp like that. and also outperform teams based on Arlecchino and Neuvillette, which arguably are better. But you do have to take into consideration, Skirk is leveling or even outperforming the best characters in the game at the moment. And while that is with insane teams like Farina C6, Shenhe C6, Escoffier C1, you do have to remember that all the other teams they were being compared to were C6 as well. So say if we brought all of this to C0 with R0, or maybe not even a signature weapon, it could still be a similar standpoint. Nice to hear that Skirk is going to live up to her hype. She is going to be one of the best DPSs in the game if paired with the right team comp and built correctly. But one of the really bad takeaways from this is that you need to have Escoffier. And this is from a beta tester's standpoint. He basically said, if you don't have Escoffier paired up with Skirk, it's like ineffective. The difference between having Escoffier and not having Escoffier in your team with Skirk is so significant that it basically like devalues Skirk like possibly by a whole tier. This is because of the Hydro Cryo Shred that Escoffier offers in her passive talent, and as well as all the buffs. If you have been saving for Skirk, then maybe it's a good idea to sacrifice some Primogems that you were going to spend on her weapon perhaps, and spend them on Escoffier. It is so annoying having to pull for a character right before a new one is coming out. I mean, like the weapon ascension materials and the character leveling up materials is just going to be so diminished. The more is going to be gone, but this is the sacrifice we have to make. Okay, now I'm going to tell you about the confirmed 5.7 banner lineup, because obviously if you're pulling for Skirk, you want to know who else is going to be out at the time, what other opportunities you may have, which 4 stars are out. So first of all, let's start with the phase 1 in 5.7. We will have Skirk, obviously the brand new character that we all want to pull for, and then we have Emily, who is another solid sub DPS. But if you're going for the Cryo and Hydro characters for your team build for Skirk, definitely don't pull for her. On the second phase, we have Mavuika, probably the final rerun that we will get for a while. You know, judging off Natlan's era is ending. Obviously, she may return in a year's time or less, possibly, but Archons usually take a little longer to rerun than other characters that come out. And especially in 6.x, when we have so many new characters coming out, it will be hard for them to fit characters like Mavuika in. And we also have Shenhe, which is actually perfect timing, because if you didn't know, Shenhe is going to be a really good support to tag along with Skirk. So this is a good opportunity to build up a bit of a team comp for Skirk if you want to get Skirk and Shenhe, especially with Shenhe being in the second phase. But again, it's just so many Primogems. And for the 4 stars we currently have on the banner, the only 4 stars we have are Dahlia, and yeah, that's it. Guys, click the bell next to my name, turn it on all, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment what you found most interesting about in this video. Thank you so much for watching, as always. If you would like to win 2 Welkin Moons, then join my Discord, the link is below. Thanks so much for watching, see you in the next one, peace.